Welcome to Indoor Cycling TV, the global community for indoor cycling and spinning. Now, every week we feature badass studios and rock star spin instructors. You also get spin classes absolutely free. So hit the subscribe button to avoid missing the world's greatest studios and instructors. Don't forget to like and share. Now let's watch today's video. Welcome back to Indoor Cycling Channel. Now, if you happen to be brand new here, then you know what you need to do. You need to subscribe, because this is the central hub for all things spinning and indoor cycling. And we have fabulous guests, just like today's duo, which is Cydney and Abby the dog. Everyone say hi. Oh, look.
Hey, everyone.
Cydney is very nicely looking after Abby, who is under the weather. She's had, what, she's had?
She had her spay.
She has had things removed. And so she's very tender. And so we are going to welcome her into today's Indoor Cycling Channel TV's interview. So I always like to start off with the basic question by asking, where, Cydney, do you currently offer indoor cycling classes?
I currently offer classes from my own virtual establishment, so from home. Fantastic. And I also teach at Lifetime Fitness in Canada.
Fantastic. So whereabouts are you in Canada?
Geographically, I'm in Burlington, Ontario, which is just west of Toronto.
We had this conversation. My ex-boyfriend lives near there. Do you know where Cayuga is?
I have never heard of it.
No one ever did. I was like, Cayuga, and then I'm like, I promise my boyfriend was real. The place is real.
I was going to say, are you sure that it all really happened?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad dream. Anyway, I digress. That's for another interview another time. So then tell me then, because you do your own oh my goodness, you're breaking my heart. So you work from home. Is that because of the recent environmental issues, or has that always kind of been a thing that you've done?
No, I definitely started when things started to close down. Mm-hmm. And it was the sort of thing that I said, well, I love teaching. People love to ride, and now people are starting to get their own bikes and ride from home. So how it would be a disservice to them if I didn't continue. That's what I figured.
Exactly. People are going to be spinning with or without you, so you have to continue. And obviously, people will absolutely love your classes in person. So how long did you do them in the studio?
Oh my goodness. I've been teaching for many years. I've worked at several different places. The most recent, prior to its close, unfortunately, was Cyclebar. And I taught and managed the studio and was the lead instructor there for about 3 years.
Fabulous. So a long, outstanding history with spin and indoor cycling. So let's talk about the birth of your career, the very beginning.
Ooh, okay.
Why did you get into fitness?
Well, I'll tell you exactly. So I used to ride horses competitively. I actually lived in Holland for almost 5 years, training
that equestrian vibe. Now that you've said that, I am feeling that equestrian vibe. Yeah, okay. That's amazing.
Well, that's funny. Maybe you're psychic. Ooh.
Maybe. I get another interview for another time. Who knows?
So I was riding horses and loved that. But then ultimately I decided after training and I lived my dream out in Holland, and then I decided that it was really time to come home. So I did, and I traded my pedals, or my stirrups for pedals, and my horseback riding saddle for a bike saddle, and I found spinning, and I loved it. And you know what, there's this sort of rhythm aspect that's similar to equestrian, and you know, you're riding something, but it's a little bit less expensive because it doesn't get injured as frequently. And
all the time, and that how's it all the time.
That's
a little bit of WD-40, keeping the wheels going. Very basic, very low maintenance.
Yeah, a little adjustment here or there, but
I also think the comfiness of the saddles may have differed quite dramatically in your initial stages.
Definitely.
I think everybody struggles with uptaking the cycle on a spin bike. It's always a difficult transition, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like a good variety of in the saddle and out of the saddle for that very reason.
Exactly. Don't want to beat up yourself down there. Fantastic. Well, that is so interesting. That is actually the most unique way into spinning that I've heard so far. So
Really?
that's very good. And I've interviewed quite a few people. So that's really interesting. Do you miss equestrian though? Do you kind of miss?
Yes. I mean, I still dream about it. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it's amazing though. Do you have horses? Do you still ride at all?
My mom has a farm, and so we have a lot of horsey friends. So it's at my fingertips. Excuse me, we're in an interview. Yeah, I have it at my fingertips should I want to, and I think it's something I will go back to when I have a little more time in my life. But for now, it's it's a future. It's gonna be a wonderful thing to come back to, I think.
Fantastic. Well, you never lose it. It's like riding a bike, literally riding a horse. The two, you'll be fine, I'm sure. So then let's talk. You say you're busy, so you're too busy to horse ride. Does it mean you're too busy spinning?
So spinning was fitness was my full-time career until a year ago when I'd actually done my master's in psychology, and then I got distracted by fitness. So fitness, I was plugging along, doing my thing, did my master's while I was teaching spin. And then, once I graduated my master's, I got totally wrapped up in managing the studio and being in training instructors and doing all of that, which was amazing. But ultimately, I got a little distracted from my life plan. So I rerouted and went back into that. And I do psychoeducational assessments, and I do psychotherapy. So I work in the psych world. It's my other job. And fitness is my really fun part.
Fantastic. That's amazing. You are a lady of many, many talents. I can feel this. So then let's talk about when you're not being a psychologist and helping out in that area. Let's talk about then what you offer. So kind of how often are your classes, kind of the lengths, the styles, what's your jam?
I will tell you. So I teach 4 times a week currently, twice from my own home and twice from the studio at Lifetime. And I would describe my style as strength-based, an intense ride with a touch of dance party. So, it's very rhythm-based. Yeah, very rhythm-based. The music is what inspires me for every movement we make, whether it be a strength-based movement or whether it be more of a choreography dance-based movement. But it's really a very eclectic music-wise and very eclectic move-wise, so that you're going to get almost a full body workout in a class.
Amazing. So then let's talk about kind of amounts and sizes of classes. So do they differ online to kind of what you get in person? What's the difference in that regard?
Well, how many people come, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all over the place. It's really interesting. What I found with online is the accountability factor is far less. And I get it myself because I have a lot of friends who teach Pilates and I love them and they're amazing instructors, but it's really easy to squeam your way out of doing the class when you're just at home and there's all these distractions. So I think that the accountability piece, with COVID, because in Canada, well, in Ontario, we're in our 3rd lockdown right now. So there's been a lot of online, a lot of fitness studios aren't surviving. A lot of them aren't open and haven't been for quite a long time. So everything really is online, but holding your riders accountable in that way it's something I'm learning how to do actually, because, there's a fine line between bugging your riders. Hey, I missed you yesterday and how you doing? So what I've done actually is I've made my rides on demand available as well, because I recognize that, what? Schedules have changed, right? Life is really totally different. How can we adhere to the normal that we used to have? So, to account for that, all of my classes are available on demand. So people can sign up for live classes, buy a package that involves live and demand to have all the freedom that they're looking for.
Fantastic. Yeah, because it's always the way, isn't it? You wake up, you're on the sofa, you got your laundry and you're doing this, you're doing that. And I feel in lockdown, because we are just coming out of our 3rd/4th, freedom is near. It's still out of grasp, but it's close. But I feel like a lot of people miss routine. They miss that sort of element where it's very regimented and it's quite lax when you're at home. So I completely see where you're going with the on demand. And how is that taken up? How have people responded to it?
Pretty well. And one of the things that I really like to do are incorporate people's desires and music choices into rides. So for instance, on Sunday morning, I do themes. I theme on Sunday. So it can be anything from a 90s hip hop class to, musicals. I had someone want to do like ABBA versus Grease. Listen, I'm all
Wow.
ears. You can do a lot with music and you can ride to pretty much anything, almost anything. Country is tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there must be a few, maybe, I mean, because in the UK, we're not really country fans. It's so much bigger in the States and in Canada
Yeah.
and things like that. So I haven't come across it, but challenge accepted. I'll
Yeah.
never back away from a challenge. I reckon we can find a good country playlist.
I'm not saying I don't have one because I do. Yeah, I'm ready.
Exactly.
Okay.
Lady of many talents, country playlist coming at you. Fantastic. Well, that's so good. Keeping it diverse, keeping it interactive. So do you offer sort of any other types of fitness classes at home, or is it strictly spin?
Yeah, so my spin classes actually incorporate arms, and on Sunday I do core work as well. So my class, I'm so glad you asked because I probably would have forgotten to mention it, Annie. You're so good. Um, yeah, so in two tracks of my of the playlist, will incorporate weights, light weights, heavy weights, that sort of thing. And then, like I said, on Sunday we'll hit the mat for about 10 minutes and just work that core so it burns. You can do a lot in 10 minutes, girl.
Oh, I know. I'm right there with you. 5 minutes for me and I'm done. I'm tapped out. I'll see you later. So then let's talk about what you offer in the studio. So are you able to be in the studio now, or is that not happening at the moment?
Yeah, so we are
Okay.
alone teaching to an iPad. So it's just me in
Fantastic.
this huge room that used to be filled with 50, 60 people, but now is just me. And that's a
A great
nice,
time.
yeah, and Lifetime offers a full range of classes, so that's it's a full experience. So if someone wanted to join up with Lifetime virtual, they would get access to hundreds all over North America, actually, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
real
yeah.
diversity going on there. That's fantastic. We love a bit of diversity because, who doesn't? Who doesn't love a bit of diversity?
Like,
So,
options, options.
so have you got any sort of one-to-one coaching? Do you do any sort of personal training, anything in that area?
I do actually. Well, so as you know now, my background is in psychology. So I do
Yes.
life coaching. I do performance coaching. And what that really is helping people through transition to achieve their goals. So you know what? Sometimes if you're struggling to motivate yourself to get to the class, maybe it's time to ask yourself, well, what's stopping me, right?
Mhm.
What's stopping me be the best version of myself that I can be? And so from a mental standpoint, I think it's just as important to support that growth. And I mean, really, I'm so enmeshed in this belief that the psychological and the physiological are interlinked, and we can't promote the health of one without focusing on the other as well.
No, you're completely right. Do you think because the two really sort of marry together in the sense it's kind of a circle, isn't it? That when you get your metabolism going, when you get your endorphins going, it puts you in a better mood, and then you feel better to exercise. And it's that sort of ecosystem in which internally and externally we work. And do you find that a lot of people, you can sort of lend your skills as a fitness instructor to the psychological element as well and marry the two?
She's so good. How do you do that? You're really good. So I actually, in my fitness classes, I tend to be fairly motivational. And a lot of my clients will say, man, I just feel so empowered to be able to attack that project or face that problem, because it's not preachy, right? You don't sit there and preach about life, but you dabble some of that in, and through the difficult moments. I mean, a spin class is much like life. You start, maybe you don't want to be there. You got to get over that hump. You got to get through the difficult times. You got to get up the hills, down the valleys, through the sprints. So there are challenges to face. So it's about attacking those challenges. In my, psychotherapy as well, I have clients who face a lot of body issues, right? That's there, that's real. So I might do 10 minutes of an activation, low impact activation at the end of class, just to get the body moving because of that connection. So absolutely, and enmeshed, completely intertwined.
And do you find that maybe some of your clients are kind of turned to you for on a psychological level and kind of and gone, oh, you can help me, and you're assisting people in more than just their physical fitness?
Absolutely. And more so now that we're virtual. When we were in studio only, I think there was a sort of an element of the mixing of the two, because you're seeing this person in one way and it's sometimes hard to blend the two. But being virtual, there's sort of this feeling of privacy in a way. I'm not sure. It's interesting, but yeah, definitely. It happens, absolutely, because it's a comfort level, right? And if you're motivated and inspired by something, it makes you feel good and you want more of that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's amazing that you say that, because a lot of people actually, like I find, it's because online there's a lot of anonymity. You can be quite hidden and quite, behind closed doors, and no one needs to see you. I feel that a lot of the time that can actually be a hindrance, that no one comes forward because they just blend in the shadows. So the fact that you and your cycling has brought people out to actually connect is really inspiring. So you're obviously doing something very, very right. So kudos to you. Well done. But yeah, I feel like that is amazing, because, I think we all know, anybody who's been into fitness, the psychological and the confidence elements that you can get from fitness are priceless. So is that kind of something that you encourage? Is there like themes when you say you're motivational? Is it confidence? Is it pride? What is it that you try and motivate out of your cycle riders?
Really the idea that we're stronger than we think we are. And if we just believe that we can do something, nothing is impossible, right? At the end of the day, I mean, we encounter hurdles all the time, and we're only as limited as our minds allow us to be, really. That's a big one. It's a big one. We limit ourselves so much. We got to break through that ceiling, wherever it is.
No, definitely. Now, recalling obviously some of your riders, some of the people that have been into your classes, can you think of like, a story in which is kind of the pinnacle? They've started off really low and you didn't know how it was going to go, and now they're just shining stars. Have you kind of got one of those sort of favorite stories you can share with us?
Yeah, without sharing names or anything, there were two people who really affected me pretty greatly, and I didn't know I was doing it until a little bit later. So what ended up happening was, after months of really working with this person in the spin area, they approached me and said, you don't know this, but one of them, someone had passed away, and the other one had cancer, and both were really had been in very dark places. And the cycling is what brought them out and made them feel like they were more confident in themselves and could get out of the house and do something, and had somewhere to go that was really positive in their lives and made them feel better after 45 minutes, which is pretty awesome, right? And both of those people, I've maintained a relationship with in different ways. So both through coaching and personally, and it's amazing the effect you're having on people sometimes without even knowing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's only 45 minutes with you face to face or over online, but the actual residual effect that you have on a day-to-day basis is huge and unseen. But I know a lot of people are going to be benefiting from your classes. So
yeah,
nailing it. Now let's talk quickly about, because you're a very capable lady, so you may not have an answer to this, but what do you find challenging about your job? Is there hurdles that you've had to overcome to get to where you are today?
Sure, of course. I mean, there are always hurdles. Working in the fitness industry is interesting because, for one, you're often working in an environment that can be quite competitive with, fellow instructors, even bosses. And so early on in my career, one of the things I did find challenging was working for people who maybe weren't secure enough in themselves. I don't know. I'm just taking guesses here, but
psychologically analyzing them.
I don't know. I'm just taking guesses. But, sometimes I've always just wanted to do a great job and affect people, but there can be limits to that in the industry. So I've always been searching. And one of the things I really worked hard at when I was managing the studio at Cyclebar was to create an inclusive environment for people to be able to completely and freely express their opinions and feel included. And I think that's one of the challenges in the industry and something that needs to be changed, because you know, it's an amazing thing. We're doing great things. We're creating this energy that's, you know, unbeatable. Excuse me, no growling. So, you know, it's she doesn't, maybe she doesn't agree, I don't know.
No, it's all about how do you look, girl.
It's not about that, you know, but there is such an emphasis on that, and it's you know, it's feeling good from the inside out, not the outside in, and that's the key.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because I feel it's the rise of Instagram and things along those lines, in which the fitness industry has thrived on Instagram, and, you know, has done amazing things online for people who teach and people who want help and advice. But the broadcasted message can be very detrimental to those who are trying to make the most out of fitness and make fitness work for them. But when you've got these very ripped, teeny tiny people who make it look like it's the easiest thing in the world, I'm like, you don't see the hard work, you don't see the grind, you don't see the struggles that everybody goes through. Nobody wakes up with, unless large quantities of drugs have been taken, you know, nobody wakes up with a six-pack just looking amazing. It is continual work, isn't it? And do you feel like that when we talk about accountability? Do you feel people struggle and falter online because of those sorts of messages?
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. The realness is missing, but also who wants to like unload on Instagram and just be a puddle on the floor? Because listen, we all have those moments. As a matter of fact, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month in North America. I don't know if it's worldwide, I don't know, but I know that for us it is. And so, you know, it's so funny because one of the things that I'm challenged with on social media is to be really open in that way. And how do you find a way to bring in the realness and also promote yourself, right? It's a really fine line. So it's funny enough that you mentioned it, because this is the month that I've actually made a couple posts where they were a little bit more, okay, you know what, I've had a challenging relationship with food in the past. And I sort of brought that up because I wanted to really be able to express myself and share some of the challenges, you know, in a relatable way. Yeah. Because I think it's so important. It's so important.
And it's so important, but yet, like you say, it's so difficult because it's that algorithm. People want to see little teeny tiny people wearing any clothes, and they're like, but then the actual realness doesn't get responded to. And it's a battle, especially with self-promotion and trying to market yourself as a business. How far do you lean into the themes? And it is a difficult line to walk. But the thing that I respect is that you're trying to walk it. Because there's a lot of people that just cash in and they just fold, and that is the wrong thing when it comes to, you know, fitness professionals.
Yeah, but it's not me, so I couldn't do that. I just, you know, it's just not it's not how I work.
Yeah. My Instagram, I'm like this. Pictures of me. I'm like, I don't care. Because you know, I would much rather be an absolute crazy loon, as you probably established, than someone I'm not. Me crazy? Shut up. I feel like I'm digressing now. We're moving away from spin. We're going to move back. We're moving back. Right. So let's talk about then people who have somehow been inspired by this interview. Not me, you, yes, definitely. Me, not. Nobody's going to be an interviewer after this, I'm sure. But we're talking about if somebody wants to become a spin instructor and have that bond with people and build their business and do that, what is your advice to somebody who's toying around with the idea of it?
If you're passionate about it and you love it, you can do anything. So if spin is your jam and you love spinning, and you're sitting there in class going, gosh, I would do this with this song. Or, you know, I feel like this would be a great thing to do here. I mean, those are the telltale signs for me. And I've trained a ton of instructors. I love it. Oh my God. You know, I've even toyed with the idea of creating a training program for spin instructors because it's just the coolest experience. I've had a lot of people actually say, hey, I'm opening up a studio. Would you train my instructors? So it's something I haven't got on yet, but listen, if people out there are listening right now and you think you want to be a spin instructor, do it. Oh my God, but just believe in yourself and don't let your first audition break you down, because there's always a first audition and it might suck a little bit, and that's okay. It's just because you're nervous. You're going to get through it. Just need some experience.
Fantastic. And hey, there's only one way to get experience. Keep getting back out there. Keep doing it. Yeah, just do it. Right.
Nike really cashed in on that.
I was going to say, I was like, and then forgetting that, because that is an epic catchphrase. But they're right. They're absolutely right. So before we go then, let's talk. I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to turn the floor to you to psychoanalyze everybody watching. No, we might be here for a while in that case. No, but the one thing I did want to ask is kind of, if I was a student and I was thinking about signing up, kind of what do you advise, kind of the amount of classes per week, length of time I should kind of commit to it, and what am I going to experience in that time frame?
Well, I think you got to just try. I think the answer to that question is, first of all, the biggest challenge with virtual indoor cycling, and the world is virtual, let's face it, is that you need a bike. Right? The number one thing.
You need a bike, yeah.
You need a bike. And so that's why, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, Sid, it's tough. A, you got Peloton out there you're competing with, and B, who has a bike? Who has their own bike? Now, a lot of people have bikes by now. Okay, we've been in this for over a year. It only takes 3 months to form a habit. So you can imagine a lot of people have bikes. So the first thing is the bike. Second thing is, you probably have a sense that you might like biking if you bought a bike, because nobody's investing thousands of dollars into this without having that some sort of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And then ultimately try to go for 2 times a week. I think you jump in at that point, try 2 times a week, and vary your workouts. I like to try to create as total body workout as possible, because I don't think we're all just legs and hearts running around, right? We need to work all of our body. But that being said, variety is the key to success when you're training. So go for walks, do some Pilates, do some yoga, do what makes your body feel good, switch it up, confuse those muscles a little bit. That's key.
Fantastic. Well, great advice. Now, I'm going to open the floor to you finally, so you can big up all of your Instagrams and your followings and your Facebooks and every attribute and aspect of social media that you want to be followed on. This is your time to big it up. But also leave people with a message. If they've watched this, leave them with kind of one last psychoanalytical statement.
One last hurrah.
One last hurrah, indeed. Yeah.
I gotta say, first of all, you have asked a lot of great questions that have made me think too. And
that's good.
So thank you for that. That's fantastic.
All in a day's work, darling. All in a day's work.
All the future spinners out there, if you're thinking about jumping on the train, it's really important that you don't expect to be amazing at what you do right away. And like anything in life, let's go big with this for a second. Like anything in life, you have to start somewhere. And it starts with putting one pedal in front of the other. And so jump in, don't be afraid. If you come to my class, I'll take good care of you, I promise. But even if it's not my class, it's okay. You got to start somewhere. And starting is always the hardest part. So jump in with both feet, give it a try. I promise you won't be disappointed. And I'll leave it with one last thing, which is something I've been called before, which is a dealer of endorphins.
Ooh.
Yes.
Endorphins for you, endorphins for you, endorphins for you.
We're talking about those people who wake up like they're on drugs. Well, guess what? Ideally, the healthy kind, baby.
Yeah, baby. Love that. Oh my goodness. Right. Give me your handles then of your social medias.
So social media main one is @CydleDiddle. So I make fun of myself. Look at my handle, CYDLDIDL. CydleDiddle.
Diddle. I like it.
So you find me
anybody
there.
who isn't good at spelling, we're going to pop them all down in the bits below. So don't worry, you don't have to figure out how to spell Cydle Diddle, because we might not know what that is. Fabulous. Anywhere else you want to be followed? Anywhere else you want to big up?
You know what? That's great, because the link to my rides is in there too. So you'll be able to find me. You'll be able to link up, and and get all the information you need. So that's a great, I don't want to confuse you with too much stuff. So let's just start with one thing and go from there.
Fantastic. Well, Cydney, it's been lovely to talk to you. You have been a very interesting person to interview. We've taken delves into the human brain and the psychology, but I wish you all the best with all of your ventures. I hope you get back on a horse sometime soon, because I absolutely adore horses as well. But you've been fabulous. So, hey, maybe we'll touch back base in the future, but if not, best of luck.
Thank you so much, Annie. Absolute pleasure to meet you and everyone else who's out there. I know you're out there.
Virtual people that we can't see. Hello, people in their houses. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Bye.